Woo! Alright, bye TJ.
Bye.
Sorry you can't be here. Need my freedom to be who I am, okay? Hey, it's Jonathan. Welcome back to my kitchen. I'm going to show you how to make this delicious meat pie that my Aunt Ziva used to make on Friday nights as part of her spread. But you can also make it as your main course and enjoy it on its own with a salad. So the first thing we're going to do is to saute the meat and the vegetables together. We're going to get the filling fully flavored and seasoned, and then we're going to wait for the puff pastry to thaw out and use the filling to make the pie. The filling consists of meat, celery, carrots, and some spices. Yeah, so I don't like to use too much oil because the beef itself does have the fat that melts down and helps saute the vegetables. You put the onions over the oil. The onions always take the longest to cook, so I always put those in first. But because we are using celery and carrots, we put those in pretty shortly after. So now that these onions are starting to lightly brown, we are going to add in the celery and the carrots. The really great part about this meat pie is that you can actually make it in advance and then just pop it in the oven 30 minutes before you're going to eat. We're going to add the meat. I use 90% lean organic ground beef. This is about 2 pounds. So we're going to add that in. We're going to brown fresh pepper on top. And then we're going to add cumin, just a little bit of cinnamon. The cinnamon has a very strong flavor, so we don't want to use too much of that. But when you try it, you will really, it'll surprise you. It's a nice, surprising flavor. Smells delicious. So the cinnamon and the cumin with the fresh vegetables, it just smells so good and so fragrant. And then you can just take a little taste just to see. Perfection. Set the mixture aside in a mixing bowl. We're going to make sure that it fully cools down because we don't want it to partially cook the puff pastry before we put it in the oven. The next thing we're going to do is grease the cooking dish. I like to use something that is about 10 inches by 17 inches. Don't quote me on those numbers, I'm just kind of roughly guessing how big it is. I already pre-done that, so you won't get to watch me do that, but I guess I can just do it for them. So you really went to eat an burger and came in with nothing?
Yeah, I got the kids a cheeseburger.
And you didn't have anything?
I had a double and 2 cheeseburgers. Yummy.
No problem. All is good here. We're gonna have meat pie and kale salad with fresh pomegranate seeds. So.
Oh wow.
So that was my husband interrupting me to get milk for the babies, which is, you know, the babies need their milk, so that's all good. But no cheeseburger. That's fine. No problem. The compromises and the forgiveness you do when you're married, it's just like nothing else. So now back to the eggs. So yeah, the first egg we're going to use is for the wash. You know, I would say first thing is you crack the egg in half and you let the white just drop out and you use just the egg yellow. We're going to add a little bit of water, just a few droplets of water. And we're going to mix the water with the egg yolk to make a egg wash. The golden shiny finish on a pastry or a pie comes from egg wash. So this step is more of a cosmetic step. I would say that it definitely makes the crust have a nice texture, but it's really about the color and the shine that the crust gets from the egg wash. And next we're going to get our puff pastry. So this is a pre-bought puff pastry from the store. It comes in a roll and you just let it thaw out for an hour before using it. So we will unroll the puff pastry. We have 2 sheets, one for the bottom of the pie and one for the top. I kind of feel like this is too big. No, I think I want to use a smaller. Yeah. this one's better. Sorry, no one will know. Okay, so now that our meat is fully cooled down, we're going to add 2 eggs to the mixture. We're going to this time add the full egg with the yolk and the egg white. Mix it all through and evenly distribute the mixture of the meat and the egg into the pan. As you see, we're gonna fill all the nooks and crannies with the meat mixture and have it evenly spread. So the next part is going to be, we're going to add some fresh parsley and fresh dill on top of the meat mixture. I love cooking with parsley and dill. It just has so much flavor and fragrance, and you'll see that it's just really good to have a lot of dill and parsley just chopped on the side when you're cooking. You can always add it. Also makes for a beautiful garnish on top. We're going to sprinkle the dill all over the mixture. Cover the top of the pie with the other layer of the puff pastry. And this part is very important, so I want you to see how we're sealing off the edges. Pushing the dough into the edges, sealing the top and the bottom. First with your fingers, and then we'll use a fork to seal the edges off. And with that, you will then just pinch the top and the bottom together. Yeah, having a little bit of the extra dough in the corners, I think, gives it a little bit of a rustic feel. So don't worry about that. I think with homemade foods, it's always nice to have some character, as you see, and just to go with it. And then I like to puncture a few small holes throughout, just to let some of the steam come out. The next step is, now that we have the whole pie constructed, we're going to put it in the refrigerator for 15 minutes so that it can cool before baking. Now that the pie is fully cooled, we're going to paint the top of it with our egg wash evenly throughout the pie, making sure to get the edges really covered in the egg wash. We're gonna make sure we cover the whole thing. We're gonna paint it gently, making sure that we cover all the little nooks and crannies with our egg wash. Voila, that part is done. And now we're going to sprinkle some sesame seeds over the top. If you don't have sesame seeds, you can use poppy seeds. You can also use black sesame seeds if you have that. It just gives a nice taste and also is beautiful for the presentation. So we cover the top with sesame seeds. So now that you have your egg wash all over and the sesame seeds stick right onto the top of the pie, we're going to put it in the oven at 400 degrees, which should be preheated. And we're going to put it right in the middle of the oven. So now for the fun part. The timer just went off. We're going to go in and grab the pie. Ta-da! So we had the pie in the oven for 40 minutes at 400 degrees. It is now going to cool for 15 minutes before we cut it open and enjoy it. Hi! How are you? I miss you.
I miss you too. It's a surprise. Very nice surprise.
It's a surprise. I'm so happy to talk to you. I wanted to FaceTime you because I'm making the meat pie. So I wanted to show you.
Wow, Jonathan.
Does it look good? Ziva, say hi.
Hi.
Yes.
Oh my God. I'm not there.
You look beautiful. You look beautiful. I always think about you when I make this. Stay healthy. Metalach.
She'll always answer me. I love that.
She's always consistent. So now that it's been 15 minutes, we are ready to cut up our meat pie. I have this serving spatula from my mother. This is a very flashy serving spatula. So I have this and I use it and think of her. I like to cut it into squares, really making sure we get the bottom. Voila!